The Mexican Empire was the first independent post-colonial state in Mexico. It was the only former colony of the Spanish Empire to establish a monarchy after independence. It existed from the signing of the Treaty of Córdoba in 1821 until the emperor's abdication in 1823 and the proclamation of the Federal Republic in 1824. A second Mexican Empire was briefly re-established in 1864. The territory of the Mexican Empire corresponded to the old Viceroyalty of New Spain, excluding the Captaincies General of Cuba, Santo Domingo and the Philippines. The lands of the former Captaincy General of Guatemala were also annexed to the empire shortly after its establishment. The first and only monarch of the state was Augusto N. de Iturbide, reigning as Augusto N.I. of Mexico. History: the Mexican Parliament intended to establish a commonwealth under the Spanish king, Ferdinand VII. King Ferdinand, however, refused to recognize Mexico's independence and said that Spain would not allow any other European prince to take the throne of Mexico. Instead, by request of Parliament, the prominent general and president of the Regency Augusto N. de Iturbide was proclaimed Emperor of Mexico. The First Mexican Empire was short-lived, lasting less than 2 years, and was ruled by only one emperor, Augusto N.I. of Mexico, who reigned for less than 8 months. A Republican rebellion based on the plan of Casamata then overthrew the First Empire, establishing a Federal Republic of the United Mexican States in 1824. Background: the various independentist factions in revolutionary Mexico coalesced around 3 principles, or guarantees, for Mexican independence from Spain: that Mexico would be an independent constitutional monarchy governed by a conservative European prince; that Criollos and Peninsulars would henceforth enjoy equal rights and privileges; and that the Roman Catholic Church would retain its privileges and position as the official religion of the land. These 3 guarantees formed the core of the Plan of Ayala, the revolutionary blueprint which, by combining the goal of independence and a constitution with the preservation of Catholic monarchy, brought together all factions. After officially declaring independence on September 28, 1821, the Mexican Parliament intended to establish a commonwealth whereby the King of Spain, Ferdinand VII, would also be Emperor of Mexico, while both countries would be governed by separate laws and form separate legislative bodies. Should the king refuse the position, the law provided for another member of the House of Bourbon to accede to the Mexican throne. Ferdinand VII, however, refused to recognize Mexico's independence and said that Spain would not allow any other European prince to take the throne of Mexico. Establishment: General Augusto N. de Iturbide, a Mexican Criollo who led the insurgents in the final phases of the war, was elected head of the provisional government and of the regency which held the imperial power while a monarch was chosen. Iturbide was extremely popular after his successes in the War of Independence, and on the night of May 18, 1822 a mass demonstration led by the Regiment of Slayer, which Iturbide had commanded during the war, marched through the streets and demanded that their commander-in-chief accept the throne himself. On May 19, 1822, the Sovereign Congress named Iturbide emperor. On May 21 it issued a decree confirming this appointment, which was officially a temporary measure until a European monarch could be found to rule Mexico. Iturbide's official title was, by divine providence and the National Congress, first constitutional emperor of Mexico. His coronation took place on July 21, 1822 in Mexico City. As factions in the Congress began to sharply criticize Iturbide and his policies, the emperor decided on October 31 to dissolve the body. This enraged the commander of the garrison at Veracruz, Antonio Lecubepes de Santa Anna, who would later be president of Mexico during the secession of Texas and the disastrous Mexican-American War. Santa Anna and his troops revolted against Iturbide and proclaimed a republic on December 1. Defeat and abolition: several insurrections arose in various Mexican provinces beginning in December 1822, but they were all put down by the Imperial Army except for Santa Anna's forces in Veracruz. Santa Anna had secretly persuaded General Echeverri, the commander of the Imperial forces, to switch sides and support the revolution when it was ready to be proclaimed throughout Mexico. In December 1822, Generals Santa Anna and Guadalupe Victoria wrote and signed the Plan of Casamata, an agreement between these two generals, amongst other Mexican generals, governors, and high-ranking governmental officials, to abolish the monarchy and replace it with a republic. This plan did not recognize the First Mexican Empire and called for the convening of a new constituent Congress. The insurrectionists sent their proposal to the provincial governments and requested their adherence to the plan. In the course of just 6 weeks, the plan of Casamata traveled to such remote places as Texas, and almost all the provinces supported the plan. By accepting the plan, a provincial government withdrew its allegiance from the imperial government and assumed sovereignty within its province. By the agreement with Echeverri, the plan of Casamata was proclaimed throughout Mexico on February 1, 1823. Emperor Augusto N was left isolated with little support outside of Mexico City and a few factions of the imperial army. Consequently, he reinstalled the Congress, which he had previously abolished, abdicated the throne, and fled the country on March 19, 1823. Santa Anna and the other proponents of the plan of Casamata went on to oversee the drafting of a new constitution and the establishment of the First Mexican Republic the following year. Territory. Under the First Empire, Mexico reached its greatest territorial extent, controlling all of the mainland territories of the Viceroyalty of New Spain from northern California to Costa Rica, including the provinces of Central America, which joined the empire shortly after their independence. However, after the emperor abdicated, the Central American provinces seceded to form the Federal Republic of Central America, with only the province of Chiapas choosing to remain a part of Mexico. Subsequent territorial losses over the next several decades would eventually reduce Mexico to less than half its maximum extent. Political subdivisions. The First Mexican Empire was divided into the following intendancies, see also, Second Mexican Empire, Federal Republic of Central America, Bibliography, Arcila Ferriers, Eduardo. El Siglo Ilustrado en Arma Copyright Rica. Reformas Icona Cube Micas del Siglo XVIII en Nueva España plus or minus A. Mar Copyright Zico, D.F., 1974. Caldera Cube den Cajano, Jose Copyright Antonio. Los Reyes de Nueva España plus or minus A durante el reinado de Carlos III. Sevilla, 1967–1968. Car Copyright Speds del Castillo, Guillermo. Arma Copyright Rica Hispanica. Barcelona, Labor, 1985. Hernández Zar Nchez Barber, Mario. Historia de Arma Copyright Rica. Madrid, Alhambra, 1981. Konetzk, Richard. Arma Copyright Rica Latina. Laura Copyright Rica Colonial. Madrid, Siglo XXID Spa plus or minus A, 1976. Navarro Garca, Luis. Hispanoma Copyright Rica en el Siglo XVIII Sevilla, Universidad de Sevilla, 1975. Par Copyright Res Malana, Pablo Emilio A.L. Historia Moderna. Madrid, Cátedra, 1992. Ramos Par Copyright Res, Demetrio A.L. Arma Copyright Rica en el Siglo XVII. Madrid, Rialp, 1982–1989. Ramos Par Copyright Res, Demetrio A.L. Arma Copyright Rica en el Siglo XVIII Madrid, Rialp, 1982–1989. Rubio More plus or minus A copyright, Ignacio. Introducción Cube den al Estudio de los Reyes de Nueva España plus or minus A, 1535–1746. Mexico City, 2nd ed., 1983. References. External links, Imperial House of Mexico, Mexican Empire.